As we get ready for week number 6, let's give a big college welcome to a new member of the College COD family, Scuff Gaming. And for all of you who want to get your hands on it and rise to the top of your class, make sure you go to scuff.co/collegecod to dominate the College COD competition. Let's kick things into gear, though, for week number 6 as we're getting ready for the restructure. My name is Seymour. With me is Proper, and we got a lot of games, a lot of teams who are kind of ready to rise into the next leg of the competition. Proper.
Yeah, I mean, we got split 1 done, dusted. Everything got reshuffled. Now we're sitting here in the second split of the regular season for some Division 1 action. Should be an absolute good one. Fantastic to be here, as always, alongside you, Colin. I'm excited to be able to see what this one has to offer.
Hey, you and I both, and I think with the restructure, we can take a look at where teams have kind of landed on their feet heading into the next steps here for the 2025 season. We're looking towards the Northeast Atlantic to start off the broadcast, Andy, and there's a lot of teams to kind of look at. Notably, I think right away, and I'm not going to say it has any implication here, but we got Fisher Esports in second place coming into the second leg here.
We also have Fisher Falcons in fourth place, 7-1. Golly, who would have saw that one coming? It's certainly not me. Rutgers Esports, though, I mean, like 7-1. It's definitely a good regular season so far for the Scarlet Knights, and you'll also see Farmingdale State College in our other competitor playing throughout all of this, Temple University in that top cut. But the bottom cut still has a lot more action, even if you are winless like USNA Midshipman. You still have an opportunity to be able to combatant your way towards the end of the regular season. Some of the beautiful structure that we do have here for the CCL 2025 regular season, Colin. And it's only going to produce better action as we continue on.
Yeah, I agree. And, I was talking to both teams because I know it's probably a new thing for all of these teams switching into the top cut and the bottom cut and having to deal with this. And I was wondering, what the players thought about this switch up. And when I was talking to Farmingdale State, they said, hey, we are ready to make some upsets happen. For Temple, they're saying that, hey, if we underperform, we're ready to run it back and learn from these mistakes. And I think that's what a lot of people are looking forward to heading into the next step here for these teams, is kind of figuring out, what went wrong before, you made it here. Now it's time to improve, shoot to the top, and see if you can walk away at the top of your conference when all things are said and done. But for these two teams that we're looking at, I'm pretty sure we're going into Temple Esports versus Farmingdale State College. And both of these two teams coming off of what was a pretty successful first stage, heading to the second stage. Andy, I think I'm really excited to see these two go head-to-head.
Yeah, hold your horses as far as Midway Esports versus the Ohio State Buckeye COD Esports team. That is going to be our last series of the evening. But yes, Farmingdale, the Rams going up against Temple. Should be an absolute good one. Again, these are two top-cut teams. Some would say that they had an easier route, or they find themselves here regardless. Temple Esports on the other side of things, I think you're going to be tested quite early. You go back towards their top or their last division, Colin. All of the times that they lost, it was not close versus some other top-end teams, specifically the Fisher Falcons and CMCC Esports. They do have a 3-2 actual win or loss versus University of Ottawa, their Garnett team. So they do have that walking in towards this one. But Farmingdale, they're still a powerhouse at the end of the day. A couple losses here and there, including the forfeit loss that they allowed Fisher Esports to have for themselves. They can still do a lot of damage, but I fear that they are not at the top level to be able to make a championship run quite yet.
Hey, and you know what? That's okay. It's learning curves at the start of the season. And when you're kind of looking back to that past for Farmingdale State in particular, I mean, Game 5 versus Carleton, Game 4 versus Rutgers. I mean, you can see that there are steps to be taken, and you're right there. You're right at the door. So who knows? Maybe you could turn it around and see if you can get some upsets against those teams the next go around. But season records 6-3 for both sides. Definitely going to be looking though towards Temple Esports and winning the head-to-head in both the Search and Destroy and the Control. Andy, I mean, a lot of people say it Search and Destroys, they win you tournaments, and here in the series, I'm sure it's going to be looking to go all the way for a team like Temple Esports. If they get to Game 5, I'm looking at them to put this one away.
I don't see any other reason why you would think otherwise, Colin. I mean, 6-4 S&D record comparatively to the 8 played for Farmingdale. The Rams are at least even as far as their win-loss record is concerned. But as we take a look at the maps and modes and the combinations that we have in store for us here, potentially making it all the way towards the 5, I want to pay close attention to what I was talking about earlier. The Ottawa close loss, a 2-3 loss. Maps 1 and 2 or Temple, excuse me, actually won, and it started off on a Hacienda map 1, map 2 combination. They won 250 to 170. They won 6-4. So this is a perfect draw of a first 3 maps if you're looking at it from Temple's perspective. We've been here versus some other top teams. I'm sure that they've probably been saying that for themselves. It's just about getting the job done here and maybe catching the Rams off guard, all things considered, hopping into this Hacienda. They are undefeated the 2 times they played.
Yeah, and even Temple themselves said, we are a team that's kind of split down the middle. Half of us like Respawn, half of us like S&D. And I feel like, Andy, that is the perfect concoction of a team that you could ask for, and you got a little bit everywhere. And I'm sure those strengths are going to be showing in towards this season. I think for both teams, heading into the restructure, you're looking to kick things off with a dub. So trying to bring out your best maps in the series is what we're seeing from both teams. And I think for Farmingdale State, who really do favor the Haciendas and the Vaults, seeing 3 of them already inside of it, I'm sure they're going to be happy as well. It's going to be a fun series. We kind of looked throughout this one. I'm sure both teams are looking to throw some haymakers at each other. I think we've both casted over this Farmingdale State team for a very long time now. I mean, a lot of these members have just been around the block for the past 3 years that FSC has been inside CCL. So these are players that we know are going to bring their best inside of this game, no matter who they're playing.
Yeah, absolutely the case. I think that FSC over the past several seasons of Call of Duty for the collegiate level that we've seen them in, Colin, they've always played up to the competition, and they're always preparing themselves as the weeks continue on. And I'd imagine as things continue on for the spring semester, both academically and for the College COD League, that they'll probably start buckling down, knowing what is at the end of the road here for this top cut division, especially knowing some of the other teams they're going to have to face along the way. But I mean, for Temple on the other side of things, it's definitely a college that we've seen come through the CCL before, Colin, a handful of times. But the Owls, I think that I'm most in store to be able to see what they look like versus the top team, because I mean, I want to go back to another point that I brought up, and I'm sorry if you're watching this, Temple fans at home, but that 0-3 loss versus Fisher Falcons and the 0-3 loss versus CMCC, it needs to be studied. At least they showed up to play Fisher at this very point in time. So you do have that over the Rams, although it was 2 different teams, Colin. But 65 to 250 protocol hardpoint, that was vetoed out. Same thing for the 1-6 protocol search and destroy. So I think that if you're looking at this from Temple Esports perspective, this isn't necessarily tournament-based vetoes, but they are playing for their best step forward. Reason being is because they want to make sure that they can get these wins where they can possibly get them. So again, I draw my attention towards these map 1 and 2 with the magnifying glass on here, Colin, because I imagine that Temple are going to come out of the gate swinging.
And it's going to be important, too. I mean, when you're looking at, like, even a Hacienda to start things off, if you're Temple, I mean, as a team, you have that magic. I mean, you played last year in Division 2. You still made it to playoffs. And not only that, you lose round 1 to Fisher, and then you make a full losers bracket run to top 24 in the CCL playoffs. I mean, this is a team of Temple that they got that vibe. They got that creativity, and I'm sure they have the passion to see if they can push past teams like FSC. Yes, you lose to CMCC and Fisher. Those are teams that you should be losing to at this point, looking at their record 8-0 for both of those squads. And you kind of expect both CMCC and Fisher to be at the top of this division. And, it's no surprise that Temple still has some work to do to kind of take down teams of that caliber. But when you're thinking about heading into stage 2, with Farmingdale State right here, right in front of you, you're going to a Hacienda hard point to kick off this stage. And as a team in Hacienda, at least for this map number 1, you are feeling pretty good if you're Temple. I mean, your hard points have been good. Your search and destroys have been good. Your control's been good. If you find this win against FSC to start off this series, then going into maps 2 and 3, this is a long shot, but you could be looking at a 3-0.
I mean, I agree, but then, again, I'm a glass half empty kind of person today. Apparently, Colin, last time they went up 2-0, and they won the opening first 2 Hacienda hard points. This is the other side of that coin versus the University of Ottawa Garnett. They lost. They got reverse 3-0. So I don't it'll be the SD, but that map 3 is a little different. It's a Vault and protocol, so I guess only time will tell.
You just reeled me right back in.
I'm sorry, man. I got to keep it real. You can hit the copium as much as you want to, but I think that if you're looking at it from the Rams' perspective, they're not without their faults here either. I mean, even in a 3-1 loss to Rutgers, the Scarlet Knights only lost map 1, which was a Hacienda hardpoint, by 6 points. It was so close. I'm pretty sure that I was either casting that with you or Corn. I can't remember, but it was
I haven't
flipping
cast
nuts,
the
man.
Scarlet Knights yet, so it was definitely
dude.
Corn.
They look great. Scarlet Knights, hey, Rutgers, if you watch at home, man, I'm proud of y'all.
Shout out
Doing
Lou.
the thing. Yeah. Shout out, you. An old head of the CCL. Wow, that's crazy. It's brought me back.
Yeah, I brought me back to CCL After Dark a long time ago.
I already woke up feeling old, but you just cemented it right there.
Well, we got Hacienda loaded in, Andy. These teams ready to kind of go at it. I think for a series, a map that, without a doubt in our minds grew very fondly to a lot of these teams very fast. So to kick things off with probably one of the most fundamentally sound maps of Call of Duty when you're looking at a hard point, I think this is a great way to open up our best of 5.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Hacienda, historically, since BO4, it is a map mode combination that benefits teamwork. Even back in 5v5, like, think about how important it is to anchor out those driveway spawns, so that way you can get the immediate respawn to bolster P2, try to get closer towards a full 60 maybe. It's that hill right there on top of that Lambo that wasn't spinning back in the day, Colin, but it certainly is now, but an absolute nasty head glitch nonetheless. The same thing could be said for P3, and now here in 4v4 as we have a little bit of a lobby reset, so back to our faces. Sorry, not sorry. I think that this is, again, a map mode combination that you cannot overstay your welcome when it comes down to a hard point. It's so easy to flip some of these spawns out, especially in some crucial moments. We've seen time and time again on the CCL channel. May not work at the highest levels, but if you throw down all of your trophies at the same time for that rock hard point and you play every single corner known to man, it is very difficult to break up here at this level.
Yeah, we've seen teams light it up in P4.
Yeah.
We've seen games come down to the wire. So I think that's one thing that I expect at these days when I see a Hacienda is that P4 is going to be a grade A bang out. But like Andy was saying, we got a little bit of a lobby reset as we're getting teams back in towards it. Again, thank you for your patience. We want to see this game won just as much as you guys want to see this game won as well. And while we're at it, why not just remember we're welcoming a new family to the CCL today, the Scuff Gaming, and show some love in chat for everybody showing up for them too, because that is such a cool thing to have, Andy. Scuff sponsoring College COD. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, look, you want to talk about I mean, Alan hit up on this wonderfully as far as the introduction video is concerned, but you want to talk about, like, the leading controller as far as Call of Duty is concerned, across a multiple controller base, esports are concerned. It's hard not to think it's Scuff at the forefront of that. So, yeah, lovely to welcome them to the CCL family. I know that one of Mr. GS Nevermind is probably sitting there watching specifically in chat. Shout out you, Matt, that's probably watching at home. Always lovely to be able to see him at events. Always talking the hype about Scuff, working it with the players, and I'm sure doing it wonderfully here along with all of our CCL veterans at the same point in time. But I wonder how many people at home are probably using the Scuff controller specifically for this matchup. I wonder if it's going to help them load into the lobby. Probably not, but it's definitely going to help them shoot straighter.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of teams are going to be representing Scuff this season. And for you at home, too, don't forget that you, too, can go check out their new line of controllers at scuff.co/collegecod. We got our own link, baby. Yeah, it's pretty official. It's pretty exclusive here at College COD. So go check that out and show some love, everybody, in chat. But we can bring things back in and kind of reel it into this series once more for FSC and the Owls. I think for both teams going into this one, and really any team, actually. Let's kind of like zoom out from just these two teams in general. You're going into the restructure. You start things off with a win. Obviously that's exactly what you want to do. But going into the restructure as a team that might be towards the bottom side, Andy, what are you looking for in steps in the top cut of the CCL restructure right now?
You just gotta take your wins where you can get it, man. I ultimately, whatever scrims you could possibly find, whatever time that you do have, because again, these are collegiate athletes, and again, time is not exactly a long one when you only think about the 24 hours we have in the day, but you're gonna take the wins where you could possibly get them. Practice what you know, and that's where you're gonna start thinking about your vetoes. And that's when I went back and I was just diving through the vetoes again. It didn't really feel like anything was necessarily targeted, Colin. And I think that both these two teams are playing like this is kind of like not necessarily the last hurrah, but it might as well have a grand finals feel, because this win, just bringing it into a bigger scope of things for the Northeast Atlantic Division, you might only get a select few wins. This might be one of those. So I think both these two teams, as far as it is concerned, they understand the name of the game. Take the W's where you could possibly find them. Get set up for some banging maps here for this first series of the day.
I was right there with you, too. I mean, when you look at certain matchups like this one right here, this feels like if this isn't a win for you, when will it be a win for you? So You want to be that team to start off strong, and look at that for Domo. No better way than a double kill to kick off the Hasi. Losing some time here, so at least Stim is doing a good job at playing that OBJ, allowing for the teammates off respawn to have a little bit of leisure getting back into things, and FSC actually getting all the time, Andy, off of this break.
Domo comes in, just strikes for 2, but Rams still soaking up a lot of time. If you are Temple, you did have the favorite spawns. Initially, you won the first wave of gunfights, but it's been a trade fest soon afterwards. Farmingdale still getting a lot of good pressure inside of the hill. Carbonize has also found a good route a little bit further forward. Won't flip spawns quite yet, but Temple have broken back inside the time. Still 10 seconds left.
Yeah, you have a lot to do here if you're Carbonized. Waiting towards the back of that P2 rotation. A couple members of FSC, I'm sure, hitting through ult to see if you can catch some exiting members. And that's nice help from CCL Pubstar, too. Look how far Temple are spawning out for the rotation. FSC, they're feeling good off the right start of this hard point, getting all the time.
Yeah, our man gets paid. Carbonized, push all the way through driveway. Got the spawn flip out coming through immediately. Temple now from the outside looking in. Schnapps is just waiting over by the rock hard point, but it is just so well executed out of FSC Esports, man. Great initial hold in the first 30 seconds of boot.
If you don't have a player like Carbonized in the back, I mean, you see how hard it is to break this P2. Already trying to push through lobby. Every single kill going over towards the Rams. That is a total of 7 in a row. Carbonized finally going to go down, but the damage has been done. Stim already pushing towards P4, and you can see that this member already thinking on rotation as well. You need Temple to react to this.
You sure do. Watch those gates push. Everybody's trying to hit her out through mid. You have Jax currently sitting up a little bit of a exit through the main lobby, but the first 2 players into the backside of the gardens are starting to get overwhelmed. Initial damage, great. FSC looking for the double. Carbonized can't lock it down, so luckily enough, you do have some assistance if you are Temple. Still got those back spawns, but FSC hot off the respawn, not done pressuring it out quite yet.
Important kills coming out for Temple and some much needed time. Schnapps on screen there. Big player for Temple, as, you know, it dates back all the way to his Vanguard top 16 run he had beating Rocker Academy. I mean, he is a seasoned player inside competitive Call of Duty, and you think that if anybody's going to dig you out of this hole, it is a player like Schnapps. But FSC breaking for the front. They got a pinch coming through. Jaxie, a lot of work to do up top. He goes down the turn and burn from CCL Pubstar. It's a break for the Rams.
Rotation's a little bit messy. Players all over the place, but luckily enough for Temple, I mean, you did have the initial. It's all the way past the boathouse. This is what we were talking about. This is actually a very crucial hard point for Temple. They do hold rotation. Almost gonna die. He's actually gonna spawn all the way inside the gardens, so a 4v3 for the initial break.
Needs some big kills there, but Jaxie a little bit ahead of the curve, and he gives himself up. Numbers for the Rams. 8-ball Matt now trying to get the kill. Tez shuts him down, and just like that, Rams just continuing their break fest of kills. Stim finds 5 in a row to make that happen. And you need something here if you're Temple. You need an immediate break. You can see a couple players worried about the flank. Jaxie trying to spearhead this attack. He's got back up. The subs turning up 3 in a row with a full break coming through the sub line.
Yeah, I mean, from top to bottom, that initial break works so wonderfully. It's just from the amount of damage that the Rams are all finding and the cohesion of one another. Tez just sliding in, just putting people on a poster. Might as well be the initial trailer for Black Ops 6. That was so disgusting. Good assistance all around. But the Rams are just letting Temple have it for this first set of hard points. Golly. That is just not okay to do. Temple got to figure it out quickly because this first set just was not it.
No, and fortunately enough for a map like Hasi, I mean, we saw just how good Farmingdale State were able to rotate from hill to hill, lock down those big money hills. Down 120 to 52, you're definitely not out of this. You just got to find your footing and soak up some of this hill time when you get these chances like you do right now. Carbonize almost taking Domo off that hill, but this is that setup for Temple that you're looking for, and you actually have FSC spawning all over the place, Andy.
Yeah, split spawn's going to start occurring. You got split spawns going over by P3. Not going to be expecting the pinch. It doesn't even matter. I mean, the initial bait and switch up top through the halls works so well. Player inside the hill has no idea which way to look because there's gunfire happening all around him up top. And Temple just get broken. Lickety split. It just looks so simplistic. The way the Rams are just doing this so systematically, even in a deficit. They work it out so wonderfully, and they have the rotation towards new. A big moment coming through from Schnapps. He was in towards the back. It gets scouted out. FSC are just so crispy clean right now.
Yeah, Jaxie's isolated too. I mean, you're getting nothing going if you're Temple. This is a well-oiled machine that we do expect from Farmingdale State, a team that has made lots and lots of waves over their tenure in college COD. I mean, Temple, you can say the same, but it just hasn't been clicking so far in the Hacienda. You need it to go now, though. Tez has been the thorn in your side. Fortunately, you get the trade, but there's still some players to worry about. Sim, it's his turn. He's traded out. Fight from the front, as well as a couple players on the flank. Player number 8, Jexy, looking to hopefully pick this one up, but Tez is going to take another shot at this one. If Matt has some assistance in the last 24 seconds, should be on lock for FSC, or sorry, for Temple Esports. It's FSC with 3 players out, and a spawn in the back, actually, from Stim.
Good maneuvers actually coming through for Temple Esports to get the majority of time here on P2. Stim will find that 2-piece, so the back 10 seconds should be secured here for the Rams, unless Domo wants to make an argument for it. Not going to be the case. Stim gets the, at least, information that they're still spawning all the way in towards the back, but Schnaps, he's already in towards the backside of Gardens, and he didn't touch the hard point. Do they know? Oh, they're going to know now. Schnaps, full HP, goes completely untraded. Could make an argument for the back. Spawns, wins another big one. That buys time.
And Jaxie top office with a 3rd kill, too. It's just Stim here. He's going to be sidelines. Spawns to lobby for FSC. Player hitting a route. It's Tez in the back line. He's going to look to see if he can send these spawns into a little bit of chaos. As it's not going to happen. Temple still spawning in the back. A couple kills back and forth. Popstar hits the deck, but he goes down. The kill still following up with Temple Esports, slowly just chipping away at this lead that Farmingdale State had throughout the first set of rotations. Andy, 155 to about 120 now. Still 10 seconds of scrap time. It looks like FSC won, but if you're Temple off the respawn, you could just look to set up new.
It's exactly what they're going to start doing. I mean, this is egregious coming through from the Rams. Just 4 bodies stacking, hitting in towards Old. They got 2 players on a route all the way in towards the open staircase. The players over by Temple have that red, but you just cannot allow Tez to be continuously finding these 2 pieces. He's up to 20 and 13. Is leaving players all by their lonesome, but close spawns nearby for the Owls. They have bolstered up their defenses, looking for a strong rock hill, and the kill feed suggests.
Maybe a little bit of, I'd say, those sand in your eyes off the opening of this series. Temple Esports, it took them a little bit to wake up, but they are here to play. Carbonize, he is taking a route in the water. His players are just waiting for him to line up. He's losing teammates, and he's losing them fast, so he's got to make the play, but it's not going to work out. Fork down again, and now with the rest of this time, Andy, we're going to be looking at a tie game.
Yeah, good coverage out of the Owls. Rams are going to make one last argument for the back 15 seconds here at the end of the second set. Upstars at least going to be able to find the first, but Temple, let me pick a corner. They just got to play the trade. Sim, though, for 3. Light up the kill feed will make sure that FSC will still maintain a marginal lead going in towards the 3rd set of hills. But this is a great turnaround for the Owls. Do not get ahead of yourself. Jexy will find that trade for Carbonize, and their setup's now calm. They've been ahead of the game. They've been ahead of on so many rotations in the first set, but the second set, you're starting to win these gunfights outright.
Yeah, this is looking a lot better from Temple. Losable game if you're the Rams. It's time to lock in if you're either side. This is the finishing stretch now. Lots of time on the clock. So this isn't going to be a game that's going to come down to the wire. This is something that is going to be fundamentally, you're looking at those rotations still. And to win your fights outright, another 2 coming out from Temple. They got the dominance up top. They have the rotations as well as the time inside. Stim, he's always been good for the kill towards the scrap time, but that just hasn't been enough for the Rams so far.
Denied the lead swap. But for what? Split spawn's going to occur. Got Stim spawning all the way over by the boathouse. It's being watched by Domo. I mean, what a read, but he gives up the timing ever so slightly, and that's a red dot on the minimap. 3-for-1 trade goes the kill feed, and the Rams should have this rotation over towards P2 outright. Carbonize. All the way to the backside of the driveway. All of Temple Esports going to have to walk away with a smile on their face because they held the lead ever so slightly, but this is a strong setup out of the Rams.
Yeah, CDL Popstar spawns all the way up over towards Rock. He just posts up P4. Maintains that lane covered for the rest of the Rams. You have Carbonized watching through fence line, and Temple have nowhere to go. This looks like the first set. A lot better coverage coming out from the Rams, and it's turning around in terms of their lead. They have buffed it out once again. It just seems like an impenetrable barrier. Finally, the spawns in the back. They fall. So a couple of these players for FSC going to spawn out, but if you're Temple, you got to make fast work of this one, break it, and then move. You need this respawn to go your way because FSC, albeit you might lose the scrap time, but you have Temple Esports right where you want them.
Carbonize Realizing the situation, there's only 3 seconds at all. We gotta rotate towards new Stim. Let's keep getting away with this. Up to 24 and 21 up on the 4 spree. We already got kills coming through from Tez. On the rotation towards new alongside teammate of Carbonized. So another rotation won by FSC. They just need 25.
Spawns in the back. Looks like Domo's going to get caught as well through arches. So it's all eyes backwards right now for FSC. FSC's going to be hitting this new hall. And he's got some friends outside. He's going to say hello. Looks for 2. Not going to happen. Players now from Plat just funneling into their death. 10 seconds left in Temple. They're trying to get here fast. He gets spawns flipped again over towards the well side. Stim, he is not missing. 7 in a row for Stim. Can he make it 8? Of course he can. And it's 1 by 1. The Owls running to their death for a win for FSC.
Oh, man. The Owls made such a good argument in that second set, Colin. It's just... you rectified the problem with the initial defense once they got the rotation towards new. But they never figured out how to fully break a hard point when it's the initial 30 seconds of the time. And it felt like every time that the Rams had rotation over towards new, it just felt like an impenetrable wall that Temple University just could not get through. The Rams, I mean, they had an argument made for them. Temple University flipped the lead, albeit by a handful of seconds for a small amount of time. The Rams just will not be denied. I mean, how many times did Stim find a 2-piece to make an argument for the scrap time? Carbonized always playing early for the rotation, and although he wasn't finding all of the eliminations in the world, it's just the presence on the map for Hacienda. You saw right there in that map 1, the spawns can be so sticky. Carbonized was that route man. He was backed up by Tez to be able to find those 2 pieces. Those team firing was just so supreme out of FSC, a reason why they're highly regarded here in the CCL.
Every time we looked at Stim, he's either on 5 in a row, 8 in a row. He was getting 2 pieces to grab that scrap time. He was keeping FSC in the lead when Temple Esports were making that comeback in the second set of rotations. And for Temple, I mean, it was nice and dandy. We're going to look at the graph and see exactly where that comeback started all the way into the second set of rotations. You can see they kicked it into high gear, but in the third set, it's like you take your foot off the gas and you fall flat on your face. Where FSC, they just went back into the fundamentals. Rotate, set up, don't let them through. And they're just manipulating the spawns so well that, you know, Temple Esports just kept on getting caught in 2v1s constantly, or irons for those ARs to just be posted up and waiting for you to make that move. And that's a tough one for Temple Esports with how much you clawed yourself back into that game. That is one you definitely look back at this and you think that was a winnable game. But Andy, that's going to be now Temple moving into where they've seen more success in their season so far. The Search and Destroy up next. Temple has the head-to-head when we were looking at these two matched up over the course of the CCL season. So heading back over towards Hacienda, Temple feeling a little bit better with their guns looking hot at the end of that hard point. So this is something that they're going to look to see if they can tie us up.
Yeah, absolutely. You go back to the head-to-head. I mean, technicalities is that Temple Esports do have that head-to-head over FSC Esports when it comes down to the map 2 and 5 game mode of Search and Destroy. But for Hacienda, the one, I guess, biggest stain as far as the specify is concerned on FSC's record is this map number 2 of Hacienda Search and Destroy. Just to bolster your point further, it was a 1-6 loss versus the Carlton Ravens, which we know was an inevitable map 5 loss that it went to the Skyline Search and Destroy. That, of course, was the one of 3 losses that Farmingdale still hold to this very point in time. So, yes, I agree that the Owls, it's time to wake up. I mean, we saw so many times, if you want to transition from map 1 over to map 2, something to take away from that was the setups that we got to see on that Rock Hill. What the things that we got to see over by that Lambo Hill. The setups, once they are in control, aren't bad. It just comes down to breaks soon after. The explosivity was just so much more exemplified by FSC that I felt like Temple kind of got left in the dust a little bit. But it's Search and Destroy. You only got that one life. Those split spawns are going to be coming through. No route man, potentially. You just got to make sure that you play backs to the walls. Make sure you're covering corners. Play in those tradable positions of one another because you can see the formulas are there. It just comes down to being able to win those gunfights, at least being able to find those trades for the initial gunfights to come through. And I'm talking in a post-plan situation. We'll get a little bit more of a look at when it comes down to their break attempts when we get over towards defense, if it even gets that far for Temple University.
And let's be honest, I mean, in the past, Search and Destroy is one of those game modes that people are like, it slows down. This is where you have a chance to kind of change that dynamic. BO6, come on, things don't slow down in the Search and Destroy. It's just your plays have more impact if you're able to make it as an individual. And going into this game number 2, I'm definitely looking at a little bit of a head-to-head between, you know, a player like Tez and a player like Jexy on both sides. Both are going to be the ones to make those impact plays. See if you can run those routes. Jexy, we know him from Temple, likes to be that flank player for this team. On the hot seat hardpoint, we saw it constantly. Jexy was trying to make those plays towards top office. If he can make that impact here in the Search and Destroy, that could be a difference maker for this team, especially if you're allowing, you know, a player like Schnops and a player like Domo to set up in those power positions as your AR line. They can do some serious damage. It's just getting from point A to point B for this Temple team safely is going to be the hard part, because you're walking into an AR line of Stim and CDL Popstar, and we know how good they can be for this FSC team. And Stim, we know that, you know, even from game number 1, he can even pull out a sub and still look just as good.
Goes without saying, once we get towards this top cut, towards the latter half, it has gone underway for the regular season here for the 2025 CCL season, Colin. We're looking for good nades. We're looking for some nerdy spots. What is going to set these two teams apart from the rest of the Northeast Atlantic Division 1 top cut area? It's going to take a lot, especially when you think about the other teams in this division, for crying out loud. But I digress. Hacienda Search and Destroy, very tenured map mode combination. We'll have to see how things unfold. Temple will be on offense first. No Trave Systems, goes without saying. Body stack out of FSC, excuse me, over towards B.
Yeah, I want to see nade spots that make me think you got tape on the nose of your glasses. Stim with the first blood, traded out. Domo down, Tez down. Bomb still stagnant for Temple Esports, but take a look at player number 6 has been spotted for Schnops. He knows CDL Pupstar's behind, and right now, if you're Temple, I mean, just take that information and fly out of sight. You know you got numbers. They do that. They get rid of Carbonized. They just have to worry about this flank from CDL Pubstar slowly unraveling the play as Temple.
Hey, they're going to take CDL Pubstar's flank completely out. They're going to take this as a risk. How much so could have been over by Lambo, but you got numbers here if you are Temple. 30 seconds left on the clock. They're looking for the planet B.
FSC have already cleared A. They know it's not a possibility, so one other place this can be. Stim has a chance to make this one his own, and he's going to even things up. That's the bomb carrier down after the plan happens, and CDL Pubstar follows up with a kill of his own. 1 versus 1. Schnops versus Pubstar. AR versus AR. The bomb's planted for office, so Schnops just has to use that internal clock at the top of his head. For CDL Pubstar, it looks like he is posted up, and he is waiting. Schnops, he's going to check this one. Easy shots and an easy round.
I see it, Popstar. You go around the other side of that bomb. You see where it's planted for. Good luck, have fun, right? He could be playing this timing that we saw from Schnops, which, I mean, brass stones at the end of the day just to try to play for the timing. There was a window there that CDL Popstar very much so could have hopped on top of it, I reckon, but not going to be the case. CDL Popstar, a lot to decipher. Could be getting routed through open stairs, could get routed through bottom office, last known position, or it could be exactly in the clutch spot, top office. Well executed coming through from Temple Esports. And Schnaps for the Owls finds 3. So a little bit early doors to be talking about streaks, but does have a trophy for this upcoming round, Colin.
Look at the speed coming out from Schnaps. Nades out, stuns over towards B. Carbonized beats him out. Can he find 2? A team kill from Stim, but it doesn't matter. Kills coming through from FSC, and it's a 1 versus 2. Schnaps looking to clutch yet again. Back-to-back 1v2s, slowly peeking out towards the bomb. Not going to be planted for him. The head glitch is tough, and it's just not going to be.
It's just, I'm sitting here, hands in head. How does Carbonize get 2 there? It's the same thing for, like, Tez and Stim in the map 1, man. Like, pretty sure there was even, like, an owl that eated himself right over top of Carbonize as he was just schmooving underneath him, but
it's like I was watching Cirque du Soleil.
It's just silly, man. I don't even think Temple should have found themselves in that situation, but they were pretty gung-ho about bolstering the B defense. FSC were looking for the bang out. They will get it. They'll slide things up in round number 3.
It's a tough call without even trophies over towards B either to play that close on the rock, but You live, you learn, and you go again. So head over towards B this time for the Owls, and FSC all the way underneath this play through mid. Looking to hit the flank and the nade this time. It's Carbonized for the first blood. They're through lobby. B-side has fallen, but FSC have so many angles to retake this from.
Schnapps has to give up his angle. Overwatching the bomb has to pick up Zig, especially knowing that his teammate just died on the bottom side of lobby. FSC Esports, they're letting the Owls plant this bomb. They want to use their numbers fully for a retake. Wonderful nade to start things off here. Harmonize just playing in a one-off angle, seeing if anybody pushes through. Here comes 8-ball Matt. Plant that bomb. It's a response out of the Rams.
For Lambo too, so exit strategy if you need.
A lot on Schnapps.
Yeah, but they're going to fall off this flank, so it seems like they're just going to hit this one right through mid, and there's the information from Temple. A couple shots going to trade out right into Carbonized. Jexy slides. 2v4, everything falling apart, and a flawless retake for FSC. Dominoes, man. Dominoes.
Yeah, I mean, you got the numbers displayed. Aiden switches through open stairs. I was saying it's a lot on Schnapps. Should they had committed that push over towards Zig, it looked like the two members out from the Rams wanted to for a moment, but I do respect the call. Just get the body stacking over towards the top side of the center of the map. Retake it all the way through. You had at least one member coming through the top side of office. It's just a wonderful decision coming through from the Rams. Just good old man Call of Duty, Colin. You find the first blood. You at least make sure the mid flank, not an option. You had full control of lobby. They could only plant at B, and you used your numbers flawlessly. 2-1.
I mean, it's heat of the moment, too. If you're Jexia, you spot two members through mid, you just cannot slide across that doorway like that either. I mean, just fully giving yourself up. But the stuns are going to land over towards B. You know, it's another shot at this B site. Looking for a second one there is Carbonized. It's a good trade from Domo. And Jexy, he has quickly already made his way through Lambo. Stun's going to be checked this one, and you gotta win that, buddy.
Let's see. Shooting almost flawlessly in towards the corner. Domo, even in the 1v1 versus Sim, he just won't be denied. Schnapps gets spotted. Last alive again, just spraying towards the opposite door, expecting a pinch to come through in the Rams. They have lost the initial round, but 3 off the bounce since that moment in time. It's just, again, just so textbook. The way that they are maneuvering across the entirety of the map is just full-on spec ops type deal, man. It is just so cool to watch. You stun through. Let's just double chow together. Something's got to change coming through for Temple Esports because they are getting run over. It could be the early stuns, could be nades. It could be even just like 30 yards. Just post up.
Yeah.
Get an SMG in the corner. Just play for the trade for crying out loud.
It's just so many times those 1v1s just need to be won. Like, Jexy, especially with the stun check and everything, it is a tough loss there. You win that fight on the flank. I mean, you have so much presence on the retake, but Harmonize has found his way through. He's in behind this play. That's another first blood for FSC. That's going to lessen the load over towards A and a follow-up kill as well. Not just a kill into the bomb carrier. So Schnapps is in trouble. Now he is alone. 1 versus 4, and you paint this picture any way you want. It's an FSC round.
I had a good look at it, maybe even for the second kill, but not going to be the case. The Rams just systematically just ripping the Owls to smithereens. And it's just one of those things that it feels like the Owls are just not garnering any information from their early util. They're definitely throwing early util, but it's just not landing. I will say this much out of the Rams. They are doing a great job at just forcing a whole lot of question marks for Temple Esports to try to figure out the hard way here on Hacienda. FSC Esports are just running routes through the hallways. They're opening breakoffs. It's so different, never really straying too far away from the norm. Back over towards offense, and they make it 5 in a row.
Yeah, they gotta do a better job at picking up these routes, too. And you can see the players through mid. It looks like this time Temple, they want to fight, but another first blood from FSC. This time from Tez. It's Jexy struggling in map 2 of the series. Quick trade from Matt, though, and hopefully this is a way back in towards it, but it's still numbers for FSC as that trade ball that you're talking about just continues to go their way. Schnapps in the 50-50 does not check the right angle. And a lot of these gunfights just losing straight up. 5-1, 5 rounds in a row from the Rams having their way on Hacienda. And did tell me they like Hacienda proper. I didn't know they liked it this much.
I cannot blame them. They look really good on it. I carbonized for the lurk. They're through lobby. Catches Schnapps just hot off of a retreat. Teammate nowhere nearby for the immediate trade. Gets caught in the door. 5 in a row for Stim. 7 in a row for Tez. It just looks so casual out of them. They lost that first round, and I thought that Temple Esports were really going to start cooking with something that Schnapps AR was ringing on true, but every single round a crucial one. The Rams just absolutely having their way.
Well, here we go. First blood this time. Domo. RCXD out. And hey, I have seen so many rounds. As soon as I see a straight come out, goes to the other team. But Carbonize fast on the flank. That good trade from Domo again. But Tez in the follow-up. 2 versus 2. 8 in a row for Tez.
He hasn't died since the first round, Colin. He's on a mission. Last 2 players, Schnapps, Jexy, playing in different corners. Tez, though, gets caught. Jexy's going to start joining his teammate. He's going to activate Stim. 1v2. Time is on the side for Temple, but Stim's behind everything.
Bomb's going to have to get recovered. A site is open. Stun check over towards B, and now once you hear
he's gonna trust that.
You hear the stun go off if you're Temple, and you know he's going to go to the other side.
I don't know if they fully heard that nade just explode over by well, but plan over by B, unbeknownst to both Schnapps and Jexy.
He clears it.
It's planted for open stairs. So Stim on this 5-3. A lot to clear. Schnapps, Jexy going to be body stacking, pick a corner.
You get a kill, you get an RCXD, you win the round, you put it away. Guess he's gonna be first contact. Oh man. He makes that look so much closer than you would have expected, but Jexy goes big inside of round number 7, keeps this alive. And this is kind of what you hope to see from Jexy over and over, just getting lost in the map. This round, he has that chance, and it really pays off.
A fully red screen. He was as one shot as you could possibly make. It's a tough head glitch no matter the way you draw it up, Colin, and you essentially have to hit almost all headshots. It seemed to be the case.
I say like
FSC.
Maybe he hit like 2 out of the 3 headshots right there.
Yeah, for real. FSC, you're going to be denied the reverse 06. Aids over to the top here by the Gardens. They execute, and Temple are playing aggressive through B, so they're going to try to cut through B quickly.
Oh, did I see the players up top? He did not, and Popstar's left alone. First blood. And the race is on to find more. Jexy traded. 3 versus 2. Players from Barn looking to set up, but full flank back up top, and Matt's going to be caught off guard. 2 versus 2. Now you have an exit and a setup if you're FSC, and time on your side. 30 seconds to clutch this one up and put it away. And Schnapps, he is playing this so well. AR out, not the gun you want. And Tez is behind Domo. FSC, they pull it back. 3-2 down in the round. And they get it done with a clutch in round 8.
And numbers disadvantage never matter. FSC Esports 6-2. They won 5 in a row. Denied the reverse 6-0, I guess, if you really want to call it that. I don't even know anymore, man. That is just disgusting. I don't know how Carbonize just full on just turned into to Shotzzy there for a hot minute. He didn't miss a bullet sliding through main U section going in towards P1. That's disgusting. Coming through for Farmingdale State College as we take a look at everything. I mean, even when they were losing first bloods, Colin, in that final moment, it did not matter. Those 5 rounds straight, all first bloods. Absolute carnage. I mean, I felt like that Temple really did have a good grip on things. Their early setup for Temple that we got to see in that round 1 wasn't bad at all, but it was a continuation. Well, we got that map number 1 from rounds 2 to essentially 4, maybe even 5.
Yeah.
The Rams just living up to their mascot's name is just absolutely belittling all the Owls.
And every single round that we saw after that round 1 victory, I feel like Temple just gave up silly routes for FSC. I mean, we constantly saw flanks from Carbonize. We saw players looking to push through the middle of the map, unchecked, by the way, Andy. I mean, you never really had contention there if you were Temple Esports. And that is just something that when you look back at the series, you're going to see like how many times you left that mid-map route open, and how many times FSC really took advantage of that in this map number 2. And there were so many moments where I thought, there were moments for individuals on the Owls where you win those fights, maybe you walk away with the rounds, but so many times where those fights just don't go your way, and the confidence was just building there for Farmingdale State. But 2-0 up after our first 2 maps for FSC, feeling good after the restructure here for the second leg of the opening of our 2025 season, Andy. And I think when you're looking back at the series so far as the Rams heading into this vault control, you are feeling good.
Oh, yeah. You were feeling good off the map 1, if I'm being candid. You were feeling good after the 4 in a row rounds on Hacienda Search and Destroy, but feeling even better going in towards this map number 3. I mean, you got 7 times that you played this if you are Temple University. 2 times they have lost it. Every single time that they played another top cut team, including University of Ottawa Garnet, CMCC, and the Fisher Falcons on that map number 3. It was never close. They didn't take a single round off those other top 3 teams. So yes, you are feeling pretty damn skippy if you are an FSC fan.
And you and I are feeling good, too, with the new partnership that we have at CCL. Folks, don't forget, before we get ready for this game number 3, to go to scoff.co/collegecod and check out our new and exclusive controller partner for our CCL year. To play like the best, you have to play with the best. Scuff is the exclusive controller partner of College COD, and you want to get your hands off of this bad boy to level up your game and get ready for the rest of the season. We're going to get ready for the next map, Vault Control, coming up soon. Welcome back, everybody, as we got FSC leading in our first series of the night here for College COD, 2-0 over Temple Esports. It's been a pretty sound series so far for the Rams, Andy, as we can look back through maps 1 and map number 2. The hard point, you thought Temple had the magic in it to kind of pull things back and make the upset in that hard point, but they did not. And for Farmingdale State, I think you've had just a lot of confidence building in terms of the individual play that we're seeing from these players.
Yep, it's been a hoot of a series for all the wrong reasons, right? I mean, you had one of those bright moments you were talking about at the Hacienda map number 1 out of Temple University. It was towards the tail end of that second set of hard points, but it has been all Farmingdale the majority, if not most of the time. I mean, you have had so many players just being absolute problem. We're getting free flanks, we're getting free timings, free routes, 2 pieces that should not even be looked at by some general audience. This vault control might just spell the end of this best of 5 series. Again, Temple Esports do have more time spent on it comparatively to their RAM counterpart of FSC, but their 2 losses on it do not bolster any faith. A 3-0 flawless vault control is what the Rams are playing with headed into this map 3 column.
Yeah, that is a scary sight.
Sure is.
That is a scary thing to be thinking about in general if you're Temple. But at the same time, Temple are 5-2 on this map. So yeah, you have the experience, you have the success, and I think there's no better thing to look at to start this reverse sweep. It's kind of when you go into the next couple of maps, because you don't have much experience on the red card, you don't have much experience in the Vault S&D. So it's going to take a lot for Temple Esports to drive this one back into their favor, and it's going to come down to patching a lot of those small mistakes that we've been seeing from game 1 and game number 2. And when you're thinking about as a respawn, like back on the hard points, it's coming back to just getting your players in those power positions early and not allowing FSC to kind of beat you to the punchline, because once they did back on that Hacienda hard point, you saw that there was just nobody getting by for Temple, and so many fights that you were just nowhere close to being won. So that is a big thing for FSC, or sorry, for Temple Esports, especially if you're starting out on the offensive round. You just got to go above and beyond right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, when it comes down to it, Control just as a game mode, take the map out of the conversation. It's just so break off dependent, right, Call? We've been talking about this for a very long time since Control was introduced many years ago. And when you think about the opening break off, one thing that does bolster the argument for that is some very good utility. One thing that we know for certain coming through in between the Owls and the Rams is the Rams' utility usage is just that much better. You got to see a lot of that through the 5 rounds that they won in a row in that map number 2, Hacienda Search and Destroy. They're double nading everything. Their stun checks are so good. They're finding a lot more value with their utility at the end of the day, Colin. But I'd love to be proven otherwise. I think for Temple University, when you go back towards it, ball control hasn't exactly been friendly with those 2 losses. But as Colin said, you are 5-2. Have more time spent on this map, number 3, comparatively to the Rams. You just need somebody to step up to be that superstar player for the Owls to finally put some of these Rams members into the dust. Is this going to be the start of the reverse sweep?
It's a big question. And hey, you go into the restructure, you don't want to be losing 0-3 right off the get-go. So I'm hoping for Temple Esports they can pull things back and send us into that red card hard point. But it's going to come down to a lot of performances improving. I'm looking at Jexy. I'm looking at 8-Ball Matt, the SMGs to start getting hot in the series and get into that takeover mode. We're starting off with Matt as well, looking for the break back over towards the A. Has some help, but Stin gets through. It's a 3-for-2 trade, but for Temple, they're keeping them off the zone for now.
And those are going to be your 2 usual suspects. Watch out for player number 3 and player number 44 on the minimap. Feels weird to say. FSC, though, going to be on that A control zone, and they're kind of stacking a little bit, so progress is going to go rather swiftly. Nobody through the upper halls, so at least finds 1 kill, but still, last segment marches on. Carbonize good for 1 trade, should be good for 2. Absolutely the case. Will be traded out in the end, but these are all great kills if you're looking from the Rams' perspective.
It's just every single time Temple gets 1, maybe 2, it's 4 the other way. Matt's going to be surrounded. Jexy with a big win over towards Catwalk at least should have some presence to find some angles here. He slides out. He just hasn't been able to take any contact towards the zone itself. Schnapp slides in. He's traded. All alone is Taz. He's going to be cleared out, and now you can neutralize that A zone, bring it down, and see if you can push this margin back up, set up this line of scrimmage, and catch some players off spawn.
Really good decisions being made off spawn, coming through from the Owls, just making sure they're always cycling players through the upper hallways. Jexy's actually going to get timing, so they have no information that Carbonize is actually hitting all the way through this lane. He's going to get all the way up top. It's going to allow Tess to drop down. 28 seconds remain. Good wave of gunfights go the way of the Rams, looking to extend the clock on.
Chops with a big one-on-one, but he's got some help if you're the player inside. Tez wins the fight to lobby as well. Pops off the A zone, 25 seconds. Has to hit the regen, but he's losing all of his teammates. Now it's just Tez to go big here. Finessing his life, buying as much time as you possibly can. But while the A zone is getting neutralized, Temple Esports restabilize over towards this zone. And now here's the kills that you're really looking forward to. Schnaps, though, needed to stay alive. 5 seconds left. Stim, last chance to get this A zone.
Stim's going to drop down. He has 1v1 versus Domo. Gets him down to 54 HP. 9v7. Assistants nearby. This has 60 seconds written all over it. 8-Ball Matt, though, trying to break things up. He has so much to do. Good for 2. Can't find more. Add more time to the board.
7v4. 60 seconds. And Taz is going to make it a 7v3. So no more respawns, and it's just down to 3 members. It's TDM for the rest of the Rams, and Popstar is playing with his food. Schnapp's all alone, and this round just fell apart. If you're Schnaps, you die. You don't give him any more objective time, and you only give up that 4th tick.
I mean, this went from a 2-segment halt to a round win with 4 segments. It's all just down to the opening breakoff. You look back at like that 4 or 5 life lead that FSC did have. They maintained that all the way through. Really good decisions being made coming through for Temple University to, again, cycle players out through the upper hallways, make sure that the Rams couldn't set up over by A. You know, they wanted that extra 60 seconds, but some unfortunate timing comes through from Jexy. He saw the wave of gunfights being won by his teammates, and the one player slips the net. It's Carbonized. The route man from map number 1 gets paid yet again, gets behind enemy lines. Sets up the Rams to be able to get back over towards that A zone with a 3-1 trade in the feed. And they flip an offense. Temple have to respond.
Just an unacceptable round to lose there. And now you're back as the offense. You have to recreate something like that on your own right. Schnaps is going to make some noise on the flank, but he is all alone. He's got some more damage to do. Post-stop waits, but the spawn Domo goes down. Tess is going to find a second one, and this is just terrible for Temple Esports to work with because Snaps has just been in paralysis mode. He just hasn't known where to go.
Yeah, he's starting to chase ghosts. Started shooting through doors as soon as he kicks them open. 26v23. Temple need to get on one of these zones. They need to think about stalling out this clock, but they can barely even get out of their spawn. Finally dealt with Stim. Next up will be 8-Ball Matt to try to get in towards the enemy side of this main building. Anything otherwise, just touch that zone. You have upper hallways control. One player watching the main flank. He's got to hold.
It's a good win there from Jaxie. Stim back in the water, looking to feast, but shut down before anything bad can happen for Temple Esports. The stack on the site. The second segment should be good. You're going to have a little bit of an overextension from player number 2, Pubstar. He's going to be caught out. Up top is Tez. Looking to drop on down. It doesn't get captured. It doesn't get captured, Andy, and now it's getting neutralized. In that moment, you need Jexy to win this fight. He's going to give the information to the rest of his team, but he doesn't get the kill. His team dies, and again, just moments like that where the difference is made from the Rams.
Jexy can't touch his zone. He actually gets a good read on his flank. Jexy up to 5 in a row. Touches the zone ever so slightly. Bumps for his teammate to touch the zone, and Jexy does go huge. Almost a spaghetti on the floor moment. Jexy was that player up a hallways calling. He gave up that angle, and a timing did get created for the Rams to be able to push a little bit further forward. 13v13, lives dead even. There's not a whole lot of space on the mini-map right now for Temple Esports to try to force their way forward over towards this B zone. Really relying on Schnaps to be able to make a play forward, but Tez, he's hitting routes, should get gunning towards the back, but the trade's just so good for the Rams.
And you're responding to P2, so that is a good, solid setup for FSC. Cool, calm, collected now on the transition to B. So you need the kills to follow this one up if you're Temple. Not only that, you got to worry about the player that's ammunition. Popstar's going to be tagged low. They know he's close, but they still don't really know where this last player is. And it's Stim's hitting the full route through mid, underneath the vault. Now he's going to make some noise. Good shots there. Has some help. Tez and behind Carbonized. All 4 looking to go down. Tez just needs to clean up with the pistol, but he's going to chase him away from here. You do get the segment, but if you're Temple, you need the round.
4 segments are going to tie things up in that level, but it's not going to be good enough. Big win out of 8-Ball, Matt. Wow, that got close. And he stays alive. 2 for 1 trade. Tez adding more bullets towards the dead bodies. 6v4, 18 seconds left. Jexy has to go huge. He's been monumental in this round, but can do absolutely nothing with that position. It's looking like a 2-0 lead here for FSC in the map 3, Colin.
Yeah, it's a fish out of water there for Jexy. Matt with the late flank, 4 seconds. He's got to touch the zone. Catches the lip of the railing, and he trips out onto the site. FSC up 2-0. Segments are tied like you were saying, Andy, but that is just not good enough for Temple right now. You needed the round win, and you now have to shut them down on the defense and do enough to hopefully win an offense and guarantee yourself that defense round 5.
Yeah, it just sucks when it comes to vault control, especially. I mean, you could realistically have this argument to any of the control maps we do have in BO6, Colin, but it really does feel this way for vault. You got to see the transition for FSC once they did capture that A zone, how that transition did work over towards the B zone. Yeah, they did have a significant life lead, and they did close out in such a way, but Temple just did not have that 10-second opportunity to be able to set up a really good segue from A to B. It came off of some really crazy heroics out of Jexy, and now you got a reverse sweep in the control to reverse sweep in the series. This opening break-off is massive.
Oh, they line up for Tez. 7 in a row. With that jackal in hand. Top catwalk control for Pubstar, and Tez is not missing. Snapping with the jackal. He's got the stack on A. You see players are racing to get to the shutdown now. But Stim's going to pick up that P3 lane. Almost going to hit the full extension through lobby. He's in behind, but he's going to be checked out there, and Carbonize hits the right shot to the right time to shut the flank down. Tez on 9 in a row. Tez finds double digits in a row. 10 for Tez. Not able to make it 11, but he is taking over right now for FSC.
Hey, the first one, you wasn't even trying to really kill him. He just saw a body, a name tag, and he was like, I'll take you too. A big 2-piece. It's enough to be able to earn the A zone, fully controlled for FSC. 60 seconds out on towards the board. A full set of respawns, adding more. Tez, 22 and 13, somehow walks away with that one, even at 9 HP. Gonna try to get inside of this building as well, cause more chaos. Temple cannot leave their spawn.
Hey, they're spawning DP4. Tez is doing everything right. He can't die, and he can't miss. It is the blender that you're finding yourself in if you're the Owls, but here's a way back. Jexy's going to win a fight towards lobby, see if he can flip things out, and then force Tez to make a play of his own. As soon as he does, he's going to be caught. So Temple Esports, the checklist is complete. You have broken the spawn trap.
15 versus 9, though, Colin, and you really do need Jexy to go huge on this flank. He's pushing all of them to the backside of the spawn. Cruise missile's going to get called in, so he's not going to turn back around. Doesn't even matter because Tez was that player playing Fruit Ninja with the tablet open. 14v6. They're on the zone. The clock's going to get stalled out. 8-ball Matt does win a big one. One trophy system on the point will deny that nade, and you got to fly.
Yeah, third take. The stack's in. 3 members there. You got to find the kills. You got to hit the contest, but kills come through for FSC. 1 versus 1 for the point. Schnapp's alive, but he gets off of it, and FSC steal it away in a 3-0 sweep for the control, and the series kicking off the restructure for the Northeast Atlantic with a dub.
Yeah, tough decision there for Schnaps in the end. You rip the first one, you're basically 2 shots away from death, and you think of the slide shot's going to come through on the opposite side. Maybe you can have the heroic moment. Not meant to be. FSC just laying down on their bellies, just waiting for the segment progression to come all the way through. And what a heroic series, realistically, out of Stim and Tez. Carbonize. We'll call map 1 what exactly the Carbonize that we were expecting. This map 3 was, though. And I got to say, the routes that this young man was taking on the map, it just made things so much easier for players like Stim and for Tez to almost go unnoticed. We talked about it quite often that, like, it felt like that Schnaps was chasing ghosts. A lot of Temple University were chasing ghosts. Those ghosts were named Tez and Stim because it always felt like that they were running around the map like a chicken with their heads cut off. Wonderfully done from the Rams, but a great start towards their second split here in the top cut.
It's definitely frustrating there if you're Temple Esports. So many things that seem to be going right, and it just falls flat on your face throughout this series. I mean, it's a 3-0. Map 1 was close. We thought we were going to get a series that could possibly go the distance after what was fairly successful first half of the division structure for Temple Esports. But you head into the restructure. Now you're in the big leagues for the Northeast Atlantic, and FSC give you a good old welcome with a 3-0 smack to your face. 250 to 195, 6 to 2, 3-0. I mean, you're right to say that this was the Stim and Tez show, because it just seemed like whenever we watched them, whether it was the search and destroy or the respawns, they're just all over the place, not letting Temple Esports breathe. I mean, they really set a precedence in that map 1 on what the pace of play will be, and it just seemed like Temple Esports couldn't keep up.
Yeah, I mean, I want to go back and just, like, think about, like, just how textbook a lot of these setups were for Temple Esports, and I mean that mostly between the maps 1 and map 2. Like, you can see that, like, the cogwheels are there. They're starting to turn. Their setups are getting really strong. Their rotations, even on that Hacienda map number 1, looking very, very good, Colin. It just came down to the initial gunfights. And I'm not just going to sit here and say, oh, just win your gunfights, forehead, because it's so much more than that. It's being able to find the team fire. It's being able to find that cohesion that we got from the Rams. That's what had them on the edge when it came down to that map 1, map 2. That map number 3 was just absolute reaping coming through out of Tez and Stim. So yeah, if you can have 2 superstars that could do that at a moment's notice and have some good assistance from Carbonize on that route player, just always causing a reckoning in towards the back line of any team that they face, it's a good formula for success. And as I was saying, Rams do start off with a 3-0 win here, Colin, but still more to answer for, given how they, last time that we saw them against a top team, I guess you could technically say was Fisher, they did give them a forfeit win. So I'm interested to see how Farmingdale do look here in the top cut versus the other top cut teams here in the Northeast Atlantic Division 1. Wow, what a mouthful.
It's a lot to say, for sure, but it's a great series to kick things off for FSC. You're right. I'm sure they're going to be feeling good after that. A lot of things to fix if you're Temple Esports, and you're going to go back, watch the VOD, and see if you can, pick things up going into the rest of your matches for week number 6. But we got more matches here on stream to deal with, and we got a big one coming up soon. It's the number 23 SIUE versus the number 15 CSP. We got Corny Cash on the mic. We'll see you soon with more College COD.